Hi, it's Toymon, and we are back with another video. During my travels and exploration of Talea, I found so many little tips and tricks that the game just doesn't tell you, and only hints or even doesn't even hint at. So I thought I would share them with you today, okay? First off, we have crafting. So crafting is something that you'll do a lot of in the game, but I don't think a lot of people realize, right? If I wanted to make a potion, just say, you'll see that it has a 75% chance of success. You can actually click on this character on the right, and it'll have different variants. You can actually swap between the three that you play, right? So you can see Nada actually has a higher chance of making a potion. With Belia, Nada's got 80% chance. Trey's got 80% chance. But Alez has 120% chance. And if you wanted to cook food, for example, Alez has 30%, Nada also has 30%, and then Trey has 45% chance. So each of them actually has a specialty that they can cook, or that they make and have higher percentage with. So Trey is better at cooking food, Nada is better at making healing items, and then Alez is better at crafting the other items in the game. And this is just something that the game doesn't even tell you. And to be honest, it doesn't look like, if you're clicking on a recipe, this doesn't look like something that you can really even tweak or change. So it's something that goes bypast a lot of people's heads. Another really good tip is to just read and explore everything. So for example, in Lumen Clubs, there's this billboard at the back. It'll give you some great tips around the world. It'll show you like some recipes. Just say you haven't discovered the recipe for pesto, you can actually experiment and craft it using the items here. It'll show you the components. And it'll give you some tips about like different various evolutions. For example, you can see Almiuna and Denuli both have a night and a sun icon respectively, thus hinting how to actually evolve them. And lastly, it's actually got a really big tip around how to seemingly increase spawns. So the card guy in, I believe, the first Lumen camp that we explored just below or south of Scarlet Woods, you can see that it says give a card, and it's got an image of 3 mons there, including 1 Smellwing. After you've given a card, then all of them actually become Smellwing. So we don't know the finer mechanics of this, but it seems to imply that it will actually increase the spawn odds of a mon that you give the card of. So if you are trying to just say lost on something a bit more rarer, it might be worthwhile to actually try and give a card, see, and then how that goes. And if it actually does create more spawn odds, therefore the possibility of the lost version of it appearing is higher. Alright, and this might be something that just kind of, you work out on your own, but it took me a little while. But with the actual billiard length, you can see this is the standard billiard, and it kind of goes just up to the drain. If I do that, you can see that it actually extends longer. So different ones have various lengths. So that way you can easily, if there's a bunch of mons, you can kind of get the one that you want to engage with a bit further, depending on the actual billiard that you are using. I would also recommend getting a mon with Hoarder. So I'm not sure if it's working as intended at the moment, but you can actually steal Wild Lumen's held items off their mons. It might be fixed in the future, but at the moment you can actually get some really great items that way. So I would definitely recommend finding a mon early on, and you can always find Smellwing even from Scarlet Woods. And it's one of their abilities. You might be able to get some really great held items that you might not necessarily have until much later in the game. Alright, and then scanning. So scanning is something that the game shows you early on, and a lot of people might not understand the importance of it, but I'm going to show you now, right? So in the actual Anna Wiki, if you keep scanning and get to scan level 3, it'll show you this in the wiki. So you can see like the spawn locations, for example, for Kokopa. It'll show you the moveset, which is great. It doesn't show you the actual specific moves like individually, and there's no wiki for that just yet, but it shows you the entire moveset, and it'll show you the quirks of what they can learn, the weaknesses, the stat range. So that'll be great for PvP, for a lot of people that want to actually delve into it, and they can kind of start figuring out what mons are good, what's worse or bad. Then it'll show you the hidden type, and lastly, it'll actually show you the evolution. And it is a bit vague, and the devs have shown interest in actually expanding this to make it a bit more specific. Because, I mean, trade use, this is one of the probably more defined ones. There are a lot that are just simply vague and quite specifically, and have very specific ways to evolve mons, so it's difficult to kind of gather that on your own. But they have mentioned interest in expanding and elaborating on those sorts of things. But yeah, definitely worthwhile scanning mons multiple times. And the way to actually tell if you've scanned a mon like fully or not is the star in the Annie Wiki. You can see that Kokopa here, I've scanned fully because it's got the star, whereas Upset Edge, I haven't, unfortunately. I've got to scan that a little bit more. But that's just the way you can actually know if you've like maxed out on scans or if you need to keep scanning, okay? But yeah, that was all for today. I hope you're loving Lumentale like I am. I'm not even halfway through the game. I'm absolutely loving it. It's truly my game of the year. But yeah, until next time, if there are any other, guides that you want, feel free to comment them down below. I just love this game entirely, and I can't wait to explore every single aspect of it. Bye!